There is a seductive narrative driving the market right now. AI will automate everything, replacing entire teams and cutting costs through cheap pay-per-token pricing. Tokens are the basic units of text, like words or parts of words, that an AI processes and generates. Practitioners know that cheap AI is only cheap at the invoice level. In every other category, compliance, engineering, and risk management, the technology is expensive. The moment an organization puts a model into production, they inherit a stack of hidden taxes that are entirely absent from the vendor's pricing sheet. Ignoring these deployment taxes leads to a systemic and dangerous miscalculation of enterprise return on investment. This graphic shows how companies get the math wrong. The red box highlights the optimistic ROI equation executives use. The numerator represents $500,000 in projected savings. The denominator is the $120,000 API cost, yielding a 4.2x return. This denominator is a mathematically flawed mirage. It assumes a naked, unprotected model is safe to deploy in an enterprise environment. When the governance and safety ecosystems are factored in, the true cost denominator rises to $1.22 million. The projected return drops to 0.41. This denominator fallacy allows an AI project that models a 4x return on paper to silently become a financial liability in production. Integrating an API requires building a massive, bespoke safety ecosystem to surround the model. This engineering tax is the largest hidden cost of enterprise deployment, totaling $450,000, or 37% of the budget. Enterprises must build guardrails to filter unpredictable outputs and prevent anomalous data from reaching users. Validation layers then fact-check AI hallucinations against verified enterprise data. Finally, master kill switches instantly sever connections if model drift, the degradation of AI performance, is detected. This complex architecture requires a dedicated team of senior engineers for continuous construction and maintenance. The structural engineering required to contain the model accounts for the vast majority of the budget. Human oversight adds another significant layer of expense. The SME tax for expert monitoring totals $300,000, or 25% of the total cost. Strategic employees, like underwriters, compliance officers, and medical directors, must step into operational roles as AI babysitters. Their daily workflow involves manually reviewing thousands of AI outputs, correcting confidently invented errors, and constantly handling complex anomaly escalations. This creates a severe opportunity cost. Every hour an expert spends validating an AI model is an hour drained from their actual strategic job. These human capital costs are mandatory, as human experts remain the only definitive defense against catastrophic model errors. Heavily regulated industries lack the luxury of simply trusting the model's results. The compliance tax funds the requirement for every AI output to be reviewed, documented, and explainable. This adds another $200,000 to the ledger. Banking loan approvals, complex insurance underwriting, and healthcare diagnostics all demand strict, legally defensible justification for every decision. Creating an unbroken audit trail for every AI decision, override, and correction requires an immense infrastructural burden. Every step must be logged and verifiable. Compliance costs redefine the AI product as a framework of legal safety. Standard vendor agreements often embed a complete transfer of risk to the user. These contracts explicitly state the vendor holds zero liability for model outputs. While AI vendors guarantee infrastructure uptime, the liability for actual text generation and predictions falls entirely on the deploying organization. When an AI confidently fabricates false data for a customer, the reputational damage is immediate, public, and extremely expensive. Bearing this unindemnified risk requires hard financial costs, including potential lawsuits, regulatory fines, and $150,000 in insurance reserves. Unindemnified AI shifts catastrophic financial risk directly onto the enterprise balance sheet. The fully assembled true cost of a production deployment reaches $1.22 million per year. The API represents only 10% of this budget. The remaining 90% is capital required for governance and risk mitigation. Evaluating AI strictly as a cost-cutting measure based on raw API pricing leads to certain disappointment. Moving past the token cost mirage requires a pragmatic framework based on the total systemic impact of the technology. Teams must evaluate integration effort, compliance hurdles, expert hour drain, and liability exposure before a single model is deployed. Successful enterprise practitioners do not just start with cheap models. Instead, they build a rigid, secure governance ecosystem first. Once the safety architecture is constructed, the raw API is simply a replaceable component slotted into that secure environment. True AI ROI accounts for enterprise risk absorbed, mitigated, and transferred, and the cost of the systems built to manage those outcomes.